Good afternoon, Confessions family. We received this email from this other lady who went to this other Arabic country, Oman to be precise, and when she went there, she was abused quite a lot. Well, this is her own story. The message reads like this: I have always loved money, my brother. I have to admit this fact to myself. Poverty was not for me. Yes, poverty was not for me. I was never designed to suffer, and I prefer soft life to suffering. I had even found my blesser, who was my uncle, Patty. Uncle Patty was responsible for my upkeep. From my apartment, rentals, food, toiletries, all sorts of expensive were on him. My job was to look pretty for him and to be his trophy girlfriend. Uncle Blesser Petty was 20 years my senior, but who cared? He had a handsome wallet, and that meant that I did not even have to lift a finger at all. I even had my own car, which he had gifted on my birthday, and he was valettically handsome, such that I would have extra money to send to my mother and my son back home each and every month. Uncle Blesser Petty was a friend of my real uncle, who was my mom's brother. Well, I thought that my mom thought that I had a high-paying job in the city. Little did she know that I was with this older guy for their money. One day, Uncle Blesser Petty decided to take me on one of his trips to the city. I did not know that the trip would change my life forever. As fate would have it, we were involved in an accident, and Uncle Blesser Petty died on the scene. He had sustained major injuries to his head because the oncoming vehicle had crashed straight into his car, and he was affected the most. I had sustained minor injuries and had a few bruises and scratches. I was barred from attending his funeral by his relatives and his children, as they called me a whore and a gold digger, because they knew my family, they knew us, but they never suspected that I was actually jumping in between the sheets with their own rich father. They even had the audacity to come and take the car that he had gifted to me, as they claimed that this was their father's money. Well, my brother, I was spoiled too much by this guy that when he gifted this car to me, I never bothered to ask him for the papers. Uncle Blesser had given me some money to start a business shortly before he had passed away, and besides, I had lied to him that I was pregnant for him, and he had been giving me some money to buy clothes and other essentials for the baby. So I knew for a few months that I was going to be okay, or so I thought. The money had ran out quickly than I had anticipated. Life after this Blesser had died was not the same, for I had been like a spoiled bear, but I was not struggling, just that it was not the same. I had also tried to headhunt for another Blesser who was handsome walletically, but I was not too lucky, for wherever I would go to, people pointed at me and whispered unpleasant things behind my back, saying that I had bad luck. Indeed, I had bad luck. Besides, the people did not want to associate with me, as I had been in that car. They said that I had bad luck. What's wrong with these people? I am not Uncle Blesser's widow. I was just his girlfriend. Is that too hard to understand? I knew I had to make a plan fast, for poverty was not my portion. I had to move from the city that I was staying into another city. I befriended this other friend, whom I will call Lucy, who had a very fancy lifestyle and drove top-of-the-range cars. I first saw Lucy at a fast food joint, and she had forgotten her phone at the counter. I was behind her in the queue and rushed to the parking lot to give her the phone. She was very thankful as I handed her her iPhone. She said, thank you so much. It's not about the iPhone itself, but it is about my contacts inside. I can replace this phone in a day. Wow, I said, to replace an iPhone In a day, she must be loaded. Replace the latest iPhone in a day. I was amazed. As I was still amazed and amazed at her, she handed me her business card and she said, "This is $100 note as a token of appreciation." I was intrigued. What type of business was Lucy into? I must befriend her so that I can learn her trade as well. I needed to upgrade myself to my former self, not this downgrading that I was doing. Instead of me moving up the ladder to start dating ministers, now I was dating these small boys that were having this random normal businesses. I wanted to hang around guys that were involved with tenders, guys that had money. I was slowly fading and I knew that I had to act very fast. I wasted no time in contacting Lucy. When I contacted her, she invited me to her home. Wow, such opulence. This lady was living large, a whole definition of being rich. She was living as if she was the Queen of London. "You see, young girl," she said to me, "all this that I have, I worked for and I am enjoying the fruits of my labor." I then said, "What sort of business are you into?" I blurted out. "Humans," she laughed at me. "Humans, oh, humans are so stupid." Wow, I thought to myself, she must have married money or her clients are the richest of the rich. I thought to myself, she must have read my thoughts. She quickly said, "No, I am not into prostitution, darling. I have clients from all over the world who are willing to pay big money for young and healthy girls like you. Look at you, girl." What was Lucy on about now? "I have said enough for today," she told me. "Let's meet up after 2 days and try to clean up yourself. I'll see what I can do for you." 2 days seemed like was an eternity for me. I could not sleep, I could not eat, I could not rest. When 2 days finally passed, I quickly rushed to Lucy's house. "I have a client for you, girlie, but they are in Oman. You do know where Oman is, right?" "No," I replied. "Well, it is a small country which is in the Arab world. There is no war there and you are going to enjoy your stay there." She said to me. I told her I did not have a passport or money to pay for the plane fares. She assured me that a client was going to cater for everything and all that I had to do was to be ready to start a new life. The paperwork at the embassy was hassle-free and before I knew it, my passport was back and with a visa too. Now the haters who were saying I was suffering were going to wipe the eggs off their faces and I was going to have the last laugh and laugh out the loudest. I bade my mother and my son farewell and I promised her that life was going to change and that she should inquire about private education fees as I would transfer my son by the end of that academic year. I hardly slept on that day of the trip. I woke up very early and Lucy came to personally pick me up and to see me off at the airport. The airport, this was going to be the first time ever visiting the airport. Wow, that's generous of her, I thought. What a kind-hearted woman. All this had been free of charge for me, and I promised her that I would not disappoint her and soil her reputation. I even promised to bring her more clients. Before I boarded the plane, I took pictures for the socials, for all of my social handles. They had to know that finally, I had made it in life. Even Uncle Petty's children were going to put their skinny tails in between their legs, for I was going to come back with the latest Range Rover. Those who had called me a gold digger were going to choke on their words as I was going to come back with a whole mine, a mine of money. Besides, who were they going to call me a gold digger? Did they even have the gold? I will show them. Their girl is going to be back. These were the last words that I wrote on my Facebook. Whenever I return back to my Facebook profile, when I read this post that I last posted on that day when I was at the airport, my heart sinks and sometimes I can even shed a tear. This very morning, my brother, I returned and I started scrolling down my Facebook profile and I came through that post, the girl is going to be back. That was the last post that I posted before I had left my country for Oman.